You don't attract her by trying harder. You attract her the moment your life stops orbiting around reaction and starts moving with direction. When your purpose becomes internal, something subtle shifts. Your words carry less urgency. Your silence carries more weight. And without you announcing anything, women begin responding to you differently, not because you changed tactics, but because your emotional center moved inward. Most men think attraction is built through effort, confidence, or display. But what actually draws attention is what no longer pulls at you. What doesn't disturb your calm. What you refuse to negotiate emotionally. If you've ever noticed women leaning in when you stopped chasing outcomes, or felt respect rise the moment you became grounded in something larger than approval, you've already touched the edge of this principle. If this kind of clarity matters to you, take a moment to subscribe, like the video, or leave a comment. It helps this message reach other men who are done reacting and ready to live from center. Because in a moment we're going to break down the psychological mechanism behind this shift, why purpose rewires attraction at an instinctive level, and once you see it, you won't move through the world the same way again. Stay with me. You already sense it, even if you've never named it, that quiet difference between moving through life pulled by signals and moving through it guided by something internal. One version of you reacts, the other proceeds. And the world responds to those two men very differently. When you are internally directed, your nervous system settles into order. Not stillness, order. Your attention stops scattering. Your emotional energy stops leaking into every room you enter. You don't withdraw from life. You become selective about what earns access to you. That selectivity is not visible as a tactic. It is felt as gravity. Watch what happens in small moments, the pauses between words, the way conversations slow around you, the way people wait for your response instead of rushing to fill silence. This is not dominance, it is containment. And containment changes how you are read before you ever speak. Most men spend their energy trying to signal value, explaining, proving, adjusting themselves to keep connection alive. You feel the strain of it when you do. The subtle tension in your chest, the need to be understood, the impulse to correct perception. That impulse is readable, not consciously, instinctively. When your purpose is external, attention controls you. When your purpose is internal, attention follows you. This is where attraction quietly reorganizes itself. Not because you demand it, but because you stop bending around it. You begin to notice that your reactions arrive later, if they arrive at all. You don't rush to close gaps in conversation. You don't chase clarity. You let meaning reveal itself. And in that space, interpretation begins. Human beings don't attach deeply to what is explained to them. They attach to what they must interpret. When you no longer rush to define yourself, others begin doing it for you. Curiosity replaces certainty. Projection replaces evaluation. This is why effort fails where purpose succeeds. Effort says, "See me." Purpose says nothing and is still seen. You don't feel the need to escalate presence. You don't increase volume, emotional or verbal. You remain where you are, grounded, directed, unmoved by fluctuations that once would have pulled you off center. And something subtle happens. People begin adjusting to you. Not because you ask them to, but because your internal stability introduces contrast. Calm becomes noticeable in a world built on noise. Direction becomes rare in a culture of reaction. Stillness begins to feel expensive. You are no longer negotiating your position emotionally. And when negotiation ends, assessment begins. This is where most men misunderstand attraction. They think it grows through pursuit, through intensity, through emotional display. But attraction deepens through space, through the room you leave for the other person's mind to move. When you stop chasing outcomes, outcomes start orbiting. This is not indifference. It is orientation. Your life is aimed at something that does not depend on approval. And that aim reshapes how you stand, how you listen, how you decide when to speak and when to let silence do the work. You feel it internally first, a quiet alignment, a sense that your energy is no longer fragmented, that you are no longer borrowing motivation from reaction. You are generating it from direction. And that internal order changes the field around you. People begin sensing that you are not waiting for permission to be who you are, that you are not auditioning for acceptance, that your presence does not need to be validated to remain intact. This is where attraction stops being something you try to create and becomes something that emerges, not loudly, not immediately, but inevitably. Stay right here, because the next layer of this principle explains why this shift registers so deeply at the instinctive level. And once you see how it works, you'll understand exactly why purpose doesn't just change how women see you. It changes how you experience yourself moving through the world. Now you begin to see the deeper layer, the part most men never reach because they stop at behavior and never trace it back to biology, psychology, and perception. Attraction does not respond to effort. It responds to regulation. When your purpose is internal, your nervous system stops broadcasting noise. Your body no longer signals urgency, hunger, or emotional dependence. Instead, it communicates something far rarer: stability paired with motion. You are not frozen. You are moving, but on your own axis. This matters because the human mind is constantly scanning for trajectories, not promises, not words, trajectories. When someone encounters you, they are not asking, "Does he want me?" They are asking something far more primitive. "Is he going somewhere without me?" That question creates tension. A man without purpose moves toward whatever gives him feedback. His direction shifts based on response. Approval pulls him forward. Disinterest knocks him sideways. His emotional posture bends with every signal. A man with purpose does the opposite. His direction is already set. Interaction does not redirect him, it intersects with him. That intersection is where attraction forms. You begin to notice it in how people test you. Subtle delays, small withdrawals, shifts in tone designed to see whether you recalibrate. Most men fail these tests without knowing they were tested at all. They speed up, explain more, lean in emotionally. You don't. Not because you're playing a role, but because you're occupied internally. Your energy is allocated. Your attention is not freely available to be pulled. That absence of emotional reactivity does something powerful. It creates asymmetry. Asymmetry is not control. It is imbalance of investment. When your life is full, engagement becomes optional. And when engagement is optional, it gains weight. You are present, but not consumed. Interested, but not attached. Open, but not porous. This forces a psychological shift in the other person. They stop evaluating you as a candidate for validation and start interpreting you as a variable they don't fully understand. And interpretation is where the mind becomes involved. The moment someone starts wondering what drives you, what anchors you, what you are building that doesn't require their participation, attraction deepens. Not consciously, instinctively, because uncertainty paired with stability activates curiosity without fear. This is the difference between chaos and mystery. Chaos repels, mystery pulls. Your purpose creates mystery not because it hides you, but because it gives you depth that cannot be immediately mapped. You don't narrate your intentions. You don't rush to define yourself. You let time do the revealing. And time favors the man who is not in a hurry. Most men rush because they are afraid of losing momentum. Afraid that silence will cost them interest. Afraid that if they don't secure attention now, it will disappear. That fear leaks. When you are internally directed, that fear dissolves. You know where you're going, and you know that anything aligned will keep pace, and anything misaligned will fall away. You stop trying to hold attention. You let it decide. This is where attraction becomes gravity instead of desire. Desire flares and fades. Gravity accumulates. Gravity comes from consistency of direction over time, from emotional steadiness, from knowing that your presence tomorrow will resemble your presence today. Not because you are rigid, but because you are rooted. And roots are felt even when they are unseen. This is why explanations weaken attraction. Every explanation collapses mystery. Every justification hands control back to reaction. You don't need to explain why you are calm. You don't need to announce what you are building. You don't need to clarify your boundaries. They are already visible in what moves you and what doesn't. And once this shift happens, something irreversible takes place internally. You stop asking, "How am I being perceived?" and start asking, "Is this aligned with where I'm going?" That single internal question changes everything. Because now, attraction is no longer something you seek. It becomes something you notice. And in the next part, you'll see the most misunderstood consequence of purpose, why it doesn't just change how others respond to you, but why it permanently alters what you tolerate, what you pursue, and the version of yourself you can never return to once this clicks. Don't move. What happens next is not louder. It is quieter, heavier, and far more permanent, because purpose does not merely attract, it filters. And once that filter activates, you begin to experience a form of internal separation that most men never reach. You notice it first in what no longer feels worth your energy. Conversations that once pulled you in now feel weightless. Emotional fluctuations that once demanded reaction now pass through you without friction. And situations that once triggered urgency now register as information rather than threat. This is not detachment, it is calibration. Your inner compass has stabilized, and because it no longer spins, your tolerance for misalignment drops without effort. Purpose does not make you harder, it makes you clearer. And clarity changes the cost of access. You no longer chase emotional intensity because intensity without direction feels hollow. You no longer confuse chemistry with compatibility because your life already has momentum. You no longer negotiate your boundaries internally before enforcing them externally. They are already decided by where you are going, by what you have committed to, by what you refuse to dilute. This is the moment most men misinterpret as coldness, but it is not coldness, it is non-need. You are no longer asking the world to give you something that your direction already provides. You are no longer scanning faces for permission or reactions for reassurance. Your sense of enough has moved inward, and once that happens, the external world loses its leverage. And this creates a subtle but undeniable reversal. People begin leaning toward you not because you are withholding, but because you are no longer reaching. They feel the absence of grasping, the lack of emotional hunger, and the mind responds to that absence by trying to fill it. Not with effort, but with attention. Not with certainty, but with curiosity. Silence becomes charged. Presence becomes felt. Small interactions begin to carry disproportionate weight. You are no longer trying to be chosen, and paradoxically, that is when choice begins to orbit you. This is where attraction stops being a question of appeal and becomes a matter of alignment. Those who resonate with your direction feel drawn without understanding why. Those who don't feel unsettled without being able to explain it. You stop needing to sort people. Your purpose does it for you, quietly and without resentment. You also notice something else. Your standards rise without becoming rigid. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for coherence. You pay attention to how people move, not how they speak. To consistency over intensity, to trajectory over charm. And because you are no longer desperate for connection, you can afford discernment. This is the part few men are prepared for. Purpose doesn't just attract what fits, it exposes what doesn't. Patterns that once felt exciting now feel repetitive. Emotional volatility that once felt passionate now feels draining. Ambiguity that once felt mysterious now feels misaligned. You don't judge it, you simply step away. And here is the part that permanently alters how you move through the world. Once your sense of self is anchored to direction rather than reaction, you cannot go back. You cannot unsee the difference between presence that is internally generated and presence that is performed. You cannot unknow the peace that comes from emotional self-sufficiency. You cannot return to seeking validation from a world you are now oriented within rather than dependent on. This is why purpose is not a strategy, it is an initiation. It initiates you into a different relationship with time. You stop rushing moments because you are no longer afraid of losing them. It initiates you into a different relationship with silence. Pauses stop feeling awkward and start feeling communicative. It initiates you into a different relationship with attraction. You stop trying to ignite it and start allowing it to respond. You begin trusting delay. You allow things to unfold without interference. You recognize that what is meant to align will keep pace, and what requires constant adjustment was never meant to last. This patience is not passive, it is rooted in certainty. You are not waiting for life to begin. You are already moving within it. And the deeper truth beneath all of this, the truth that changes men quietly and permanently, is that attraction is not something you earn through performance. It is something that emerges when your inner world becomes ordered enough to be felt by others. Purpose does not make you impressive. It makes you unavailable. Unavailable to emotional chaos, unavailable to misalignment, unavailable to the version of yourself that once bent for approval, overextended for validation, or confused attention with meaning. And when that happens, attraction is no longer something you pursue. It is something that recognizes you. This is the shift that separates men who are constantly reacting from men who are steadily advancing. The shift that replaces anxiety with gravity, effort with inevitability, noise with presence. The shift that turns your life into a direction rather than a series of responses. And once this clicks, not intellectually, but internally, you stop asking how to attract, how to convince, how to secure. You stop negotiating with uncertainty. You stop performing for outcomes. You simply continue forward. And the world, quietly, instinctively, and without announcement, adjusts around you.